Imagine it this way for easy understanding. You have a large sum of money, a literal slush fund. If you hide it under the bed, your wife will find it while sweeping the floor. If you deposit it in a bank, the bank employees know, the tax authorities know. And if you are unlucky enough to get caught in a lawsuit or a divorce, the court only needs a single sheet of paper to freeze all that money. You stand there, staring at your assets through a layer of tempered glass, seeing them right in front of you but unable to touch them, unable to even buy a loaf of bread. That is the tragedy of so-called ownership in the traditional financial world. You do not truly own your money, you are merely holding a promise to pay from the bank. But the world has given birth to a type of invisible safe. It does not sit in your bedroom, it does not sit in a bank vault, it resides on a chain of codes floating in cyberspace that people call electronic money or cryptocurrency. Do not be quick to think about risky coins or getting rich overnight. Look at it from the perspective of those who want to protect their assets to the extreme. This is where the concept of mine is enforced in the most ruthless and absolute way. If you hold the private key, then even a president, a judge, or the most powerful military force cannot pry this safe open. Unless they hold a knife to your throat to force you to give up the password. Otherwise, technically, that money remains forever out of the reach of the law and prying eyes. Why do the wealthy and even criminals crave this mechanism so much? It is not because they love technology. They love safety and the power of control. In the current financial system, every one of your transactions leaves a trail. You buy a cup of coffee, where you travel, who you transfer money to, all of it is recorded. That data is a hostage. When everything is fine, you find it convenient. But when trouble strikes, that convenience turns into a noose around your neck. A sanction, a tax investigation, or simply the bank suspecting the source of funds and locking your account for verification, that is when you realize how exposed and vulnerable you are. This invisible safe strikes at the deepest human fear, which is the fear of being deprived. Survival instinct tells us that what we create must be ours. Yet, civilized society operates on entrustment. You entrust your money to the bank, you entrust your security to the police. Cryptocurrency goes against this grain. It tells you to trust no one and hold it yourself. For those with too much money, or those doing things they do not want others to know, this anonymity and self-determination are more precious than gold. It allows them to move millions or billions of dollars across borders in just a few minutes without asking anyone for permission, without filling out piles of paperwork to explain the source, and most importantly, no one can block that transmission. Let us dive deeper into the brutal reality of everyday scenarios to see the difference clearly. Suppose you are a rising entrepreneur with assets worth tens of billions. Suddenly, a competitor plays dirty and sues you in court over a contract dispute. The first thing the opposing lawyer does is ask the court to freeze your assets to ensure the judgment can be enforced. Your bank accounts are locked and real estate is sealed. You have money, but you cannot withdraw it to hire a good lawyer, nor can you rotate capital for your business. You are strangled right on top of your own pile of wealth. At this point, if you had a portion of your assets in that invisible safe, for example, Bitcoin in a cold wallet, the story would be different. No one knows how much you have. No one knows that wallet belongs to you. And most importantly, no court order can affect the blockchain algorithm. You still have the resources to fight, to survive, or in the worst-case scenario, to flee and rebuild your life elsewhere. Or look at a more macro example in countries with unstable economies or war. When the local currency devalues drastically and hyperinflation makes the wages you received this morning unable to buy a bunch of vegetables by the afternoon, what do the people do? They cannot carry sacks of paper money to buy gold because the government bans it, or there is no gold to buy. Banks limit the amount of money you can withdraw each day. At that moment, their assets evaporate right in their pockets. Those who are quick to convert their assets into cryptocurrency, usually stablecoins pegged to the dollar, preserve their purchasing power. They carry that safe wherever they go. By simply remembering 12 or 24 recovery words in their head, they can pass through any border crossing, bypass every security scanner and every sniffer dog. No one can confiscate their memory. Upon reaching a safe new land, they enter the code into a computer and their entire fortune reappears intact. That is the power of mobility and invisibility that gold or cash can never match. However, everything has its price. Absolute freedom comes with absolute responsibility, and this is the deadly trap that few tell you about. When you use a bank, if you forget your password, you can take your ID to the counter to get it back. If someone hacks your account, the bank can in some cases compensate you or help trace the culprit. But with this invisible safe, there is no customer service department. If you forget your private key, that money vanishes forever from this universe. It still sits there on the network, but no one, not even the creator of that currency, can retrieve it for you. You lose the key, you lose everything. Or if you are careless and reveal your key to a bad actor, they will drain all your money in a second, and there is no such thing as reversing a transaction. No police can help you in this anonymous world. Furthermore, the line between asset protection and abetting crime is extremely thin. It is precisely this feature of anonymity and censorship resistance that has turned cryptocurrency into a haven for money launderers, contraband traders, and tax evaders. A corrupt official can receive bribes in virtual currency without leaving a trail of money through the bank. A drug lord can make international payments without fear of Interpol blocking the transaction. This is why governments loathe it and always look for ways to tighten regulations. But the nature of technology is neutral. Like a knife, it can be used to slice meat for a family meal, but it can also be used to commit a crime. The issue lies with the person holding the knife. For those with legitimately earned wealth, they use it as a final layer of insurance against unforeseen political or economic upheavals. They do not intend to break the law. They just want to be certain that their blood, sweat, and tears are not snatched away by some erroneous administrative decision. So, what is the path for the wise in this murky world? Do not look at cryptocurrency as a lottery ticket to change your life. Look at it as a defensive tool. The mindset of the modern person is to never put all their eggs in one basket, especially a basket held by someone else. Owning a bit of wealth in this invisible safe is like buying fire insurance for your house. You do not hope your house burns down, but if it actually does, you will thank the heavens that you bought insurance. But remember this carefully, an invisible safe is only truly invisible when you know how to remain silent. The fatal mistake many make is owning anonymous assets but then bragging about them everywhere, or leaving digital footprints when converting cash to virtual currency on exchanges with identity verification. Once your identity is linked to a wallet address, that safe is no longer invisible. It becomes a transparent glass box where everyone can see the contents. To remain hidden, you must accept inconvenience, you must learn complex security techniques, and you must understand how money flows on the network. Ultimately, the essence of this game is a struggle for control. Governments want to control the flow of money to maintain order and collect taxes. Individuals want to control the flow of money to protect their freedom and private interests. Cryptocurrency is the latest weapon in this age-old war. It is not for the faint of heart or those who are lazy to think. It is for those who understand that in a world full of prying eyes, the greatest power is not how much money you have, but the right to say no when someone wants to reach into your pocket. Do not let greed blind you into thinking this is an easy place to evade taxes. Tax authorities around the world are becoming increasingly smarter. They have highly sophisticated blockchain analysis tools to trace trails. If you use it to evade taxes, sooner or later, you will be caught. But if you use it to protect your assets from inflation, from unreasonable confiscation, or to have a way out when your country faces a crisis, then that is wise preparation. Consider it the most high-end slush fund of your life. A slush fund that your wife does not know about, the bank is not aware of, and the law temporarily cannot easily touch. In summary, this safe is a tool, not a miracle. It is sharp and dangerous. Pick it up and you can cut through chains, but if you are clumsy, you will cut your own hand. Learn how to use it before throwing your money in, and always remember the golden rule. Only what you hold the private keys to is truly yours. Everything else is just numbers on someone else's screen.